Hello everyone and welcome to my Miliastra tutorial. Today we'll be learning how to use basic projectiles. In this video I'll go over creating the projectile, making the null graph, and implementing the skill. So let's get started. So the first thing that you'll want to do is go to the combat presets. From there, go to the local projectile and select new projectile. I'll call it explosive projectile. Next thing to do, go to the basic settings and pick empty object, since we'll be using VFXs to simulate a model. Next, disable the native collision, as you don't want it to be moving the character whenever you make a projectile. For the life cycle settings, just make it permanent, and we can just make this very high. So we're done for this part. Next, go to the components. For VFXs, so just pick the pyro projectile with the configuration ID of 10001021, and I would recommend making it be 3 times the zoom factor, so this is all we need to do. Next, the projectile motion device, so this is going to affect the movement of our projectile. The default is very slow, so we'll go from 1 to 5. So this is good. Can close this now. Next thing we have to do, the unhit detection. So advanced editing. For the basic settings, we can keep it at single trigger, and we can make the data detection time 0. We'll enable continuous collision detection. Change that to continuously effective, and don't change the detection radius. And next, in the filter settings, we want it to hit entities that are of a hostile faction, that are creations, that is monsters or that kind of things. And the hit layer, we want it to hit hurt boxes, which all the creations have. Also, for the unhit area, since we're using a sphere projectile, let's just make it a sphere with a radius of 0.5. And we can see, no, this looks accurate enough. Finally, we'll add the ability unit, so this is the final tab here, advanced editing. We'll make 2 ability units, so the first one, it will be the explosion. Now in the settings, the first thing we'll do is go right all the way down to the unhit target effects. We'll just pick the normal explosion, so configuration ID of 17. And then we'll make the hitbox actually fit it. So the red box is the current hitbox. We'll just make it a sphere and maybe give it a radius of 2. This is still a bit small, we'll make it 3. So this looks accurate enough. Now that we've done that, the other thing that we need to do is give it some damage, so we'll make the damage coefficient 100, and we'll make the interrupt value just very high, so that it always applies the knockback. Finally, for the hit reaction, it will be custom, and for the hit level, we'll want a launch, as the others won't send the creations in the air. For the horizontal and vertical impulse, just make it 500. If it's just one, it won't move them at all. And so this is done for the explosion ability units. Next, we want a destroy self ability unit. Just change the delay time to 0. Rename this to just for clouding. So now we go back to unhit detection, advanced editing, and we add the ability unit. Now it's important to add the explosion first and then the destroy self, as this is the order in which they'll be triggered on hit. If you put the destroy self first, anything afterwards won't happen because the projectile will be destroyed. And with that, we're pretty much done with the projectile. It's very important finally to save. And yeah, this is it. So the next part, we'll go here to player, edit character, go to the components and custom attachment point. So you click advanced editing and you add a custom attachment point. From there we'll rename it shooting, as this is the position from which the projectiles will be summoned. So we'll make it a Y value of 1 and a Z value of 0 and 5. And this is it. This is all we need to do for the custom attachment point. Now what we need to do is the node graph to actually set up the logic for the projectile. So go to Miliastra Sandbox, to the window, press Client Node Graph Resource Explorer, and go down to the Skill Node Graph. So here, double click, right click and create node graph. We'll call it some explosive data. Now what we need to do is add this node, fixed point projectile range. So first thing we need is the projectile prefab ID, and go back down to local projectile. Here we have the prefab ID, so we copy that and we go copy and paste it here. Next, for the location and the rotation of the projectile, this is where the custom attachment point comes into play. So add a get target attachment point location and a get target attachment point rotation node, and finally get self entity to get the player that will be using it. Now, if you remember correctly, we named the custom attachment point shooting, so that is what we'll be putting here. Just make sure it is the same name. And we just have to plug it in now. One last thing, so track target is not relevant, and projectile faction, this is where we get the faction of the player, which is important as to know which faction the projectile will be hostile towards. And this is it. This is all we need to do for the node graph. So just save. Go back to the editor. Now the last step is going to the skill menu, making a new skill. We can call it summon explosive projectile. And we don't need to change anything here, just go to the animation editor. Select an animation and go down to Catalyst, normal attack 1. So just select it and right click on the node graph event track, add event and summon explosive projectile. So this is the node graph that we just made. Now just find a correct place to have the node graph happen, so around here. So this is where the projectile will be summoned. And this isn't necessary, but I always go to the status track, right click, add event, and you add a allow interruption. So this is so the player doesn't have to wait through the whole animation before being able to move. So maybe around here would be fair. So from this point, the player will be able to cancel the skill. And so this is pretty much all we need to do. Just remember to always save the skill. And now finally go to the player menu, go to class, to the skills, and add the summon explosive projectile skill that we just created. And with that, our character will now be able to use this new skill. Now, the final step will just be putting down a few creations for our character to shoot at. So that should be enough, and let's just go test it out. Looks good to me. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and